There is a possibility that the price of XRP will go significantly higher in the middle of the night. Furthermore, this is not a minor double or triple in any way, shape, or material. A paradigm shift in the financial system is what I mean when I talk about a substantial change that might be considered a colossal change. This change could be considered a revolutionary transformation. One of the individuals who made a significant contribution to the evolution of this idea into what is now known as the Fix theory was the late Will Fix, whose life story is almost as extraordinary as the theory itself. In the past, I had written a screenplay for you that was entirely dissimilar to the one that I would use in the future. Therefore, in light of the fact that it is only fitting that this be transmitted in the manner that Will meant, I will instead offer my remarks in a manner that is honest and sincere. With regard to Bitcoin speculation, Will Fix was not your normal type of investor. He was a fan of the cryptocurrency that was being discussed. The early stages of his career were defined by the ownership of a large number of insurance agencies, the administration of bail bond corporations in 27 countries, and the achievement of a level of success that the majority of people can only dream of achieving. His transactions in business were of the utmost importance. It was very evident that he was communicating his thoughts on XRP from a point of view that extended beyond that of a casual fan. The sender possessed a comprehensive understanding of foreign currency, as well as the associated risks and opportunities. Through the application of his Fix theory, all of the information that we currently possess on XRP is reframed into a perspective that is significantly more all-encompassing. If what I am going to say causes you to reevaluate your beliefs about the future value of XRP, I ask that you not take offense to my words. As this is not intended to be financial advice, I ask that you not take offense. Will offered an explanation that was not only understandable, but also profound. We have the capacity to drive the price of XRP up to $5 or $10 if a sufficient number of individuals, including yourself and me, acquire it and a small number of institutions put money into the market. This would be a significant step forward for the cryptocurrency. I am able to visualize that taking place. On the other hand, the utilization of XRP for that particular purpose was not among the initial intentions. An additional crypto-related event was not something that we had planned on taking place at any point in time. The primary purpose of XRP, ever since it was first conceived, was to make it easier for enormous amounts of value to be transferred from one place to another. Additionally, when I say big, I mean it. Partners of Ripple are some of the most powerful institutions in the world in the fields of finance, central banks, and payment processing. Every single one of these organizations is responsible for everyday transactions that amount to billions of dollars, and Ripple is a partner of all of these institutions. Within the framework of the system, XRP serves as the asset that functions as an intermediary. In the future, money is going to be the oil that keeps everything working smoothly. It is going to be the glue that holds everything together. Despite all of the hype that has surrounded it, Bitcoin is not designed to function in the same manner as XRP can. In comparison, the price of XRP is currently sitting at $3.19, whereas it is currently trading at over $100,000. As of right now, the price of Bitcoin is greater than $100,000. Having said that, before we proceed any further, I would like to share with you something that will fundamentally alter the way in which you view investment. I have created it for those of you who are interested in being among the first to experience the next wealth boom. I hope that you will find it useful. Atop the hill, the wave has arrived at its highest point. Those who have ever worked in sales are aware that there is a period of time during which rejection is constantly present. This is something that is always present. In the beginning, Ripple encountered situations that were comparable to this one. They attempted to sell their idea to financial institutions and government regulators that lacked the necessary resources. Nevertheless, things are not the same as they were in the past. Currently, there are over 300 significant financial institutions that are members of the organization. Several years ago, it was found in the records of the court that there were more than 1,700 agreements that prohibited disclosure of information. The occurrence of this event occurred a very long time ago. Take into consideration the staggering amount of them that are currently present in the world. Once they have triumphed over the challenge, they are conscious of the fact that they have effectively traversed the difficult period. Beginning now is the process of registering for the event. Behemoths of the financial sector, central banks, and transnational banks are also included. These actors have the ability to move trillions of dollars, which is a significant difference from the millions of dollars they can move. As soon as those trillions of dollars begin to move via a settlement system that is based on blockchain technology, it will be impossible to set the price of the bridge asset, which is XRP, at a fraction of a dollar. Because of this, its potential to hold liquid assets would be significantly diminished. And if you ask the banks what the issue was with XRP when it was 50 cents or even a little over $3 now, they will tell you the same thing both times. It is possible to prohibit large-scale value transfers without causing the market to become unstable when there are billions of units in circulation and the price per unit is modest. This is because the market is able to maintain its equilibrium. To reiterate, until there is a significant increase in the price of XRP, it will not be able to meet the requirements of its intended function. Will argued for the adoption of a solution that would involve a higher price for XRP that was mutually agreed upon. This solution would be adopted at some point in time in order to satisfy the liquidity requirements of the new financial system. In the context of this discussion, hype in marketing has no place. Function is of the utmost importance in this event. If XRP is to be able to settle payments that are worth trillions of dollars every single day, then its price cannot be in the single or low double digits. This is because of the above-mentioned reason. It has been said by XDC developer Quincy Jones and other industry specialists that attempting to estimate the specific price of XRP is equivalent to attempting to forecast the precise time that a NASCAR racing vehicle will finish. This is because XRP is a cryptocurrency that is still in its early stages of development. However, its placement can be predicted, despite the fact that the precise position it has inside the financial system is not something that can be foreseen. Due to the fact that it has the ability to serve as a connecting point for liquidity on a worldwide scale, XRP is now considered to be one of the most valuable assets on the market. Just by taking a look at it, you can tell that it will not remain at its current price for an indefinite amount of time. Will did not mean for the figure of $25,000 per XRP that he presented in his presentations to be a definitive prediction. Rather, it was intended to highlight the quantity that was required. It has been recommended by a few persons that thousands of figures should be considered. According to what was indicated in the discussion that Linda Jones at the International Monetary Fund cited, the high-value position of XRP has already been decided upon in a covert manner. That is not something that would attract the attention of meme coins or any other endeavors that are based on speculation. This is the technique in which the communication of infrastructure is carried out. The next few moments are going to bring about a fascinating change in the course of events. In the near future, regulations that have been widely awaited will be implemented. True institutional capital, which represents the greatest sums of money that have ever been invested in cryptocurrencies, has been able to enter the market with complete assurance for the very first time thanks to a new framework that has made it possible for this to happen. In the meantime, the search for it has been ongoing. There is a possibility that your technology, cooperation, or use case may be of extraordinary quality. Nonetheless, the most renowned names in the technology business will continue to remain on the sidelines until constraints are made abundantly clear. When they come into play, everything is different. Not only does the system demand XRP at its functioning price, but it also requires it at its speculative retail price. This creates a situation in which everything is different. When this is the case, the goals of $5 to $10 that are cited by a huge number of retail investors are nothing more than a symptom of a lack of long-term planning. This is because the goals are nothing more than a target. It is feasible that those figures will arise at some point in the future. Anyone who is interested in gaining something from them is welcome to do so. It is possible that they will appear. In reality, however, such figures are not pertinent to the purpose that XRP was created for, hence they are irrelevant. The value that is forecasted is exactly proportional to the amount of global liquidity that it will move, which is a considerable amount that is significantly greater than anything that retail speculation could ever expect to accomplish as a result of operating alone. In the event that this transition is completed, XRP will have developed into something that is substantially more than a coin. It will have become one of the most valuable assets in the new global monetary system. This will occur at the moment in time when this transition is completed. Banks will make use of these assets in order to pay international transactions in a timely manner. These assets are the same ones that banks would use in their operations. The use of this asset as security for loans, yield, and liquidity operations will be carried out on a vast scale. The asset in question is the identical one that will be utilized. In addition, as Wilfix has previously made very apparent, the objective of this project is not to amass a few $1,000,000 in a short period of time. At the present time, it is essential for XRP to perform the function for which it was designed and to revalue itself in accordance with this accomplishment. If the price is much higher, it is possible to use a lower quantity of XRP to pay for the same huge transactions without causing the market to become unstable. This is the case even if the price happens to be significantly higher. The functioning of international organizations and central banks is dependent upon this stability in order to function accurately. When Ripple proceeded past the rejection stage and into the sign-up phase, which is precisely where we are at the time, the only step that remained, according to Will's point of view, was to bring the asset's price into harmony with its role. This is exactly where we are at the moment. Due to the fact that we are accustomed to evaluating price only in terms of supply and demand based on our own personal experiences, individual investors have a propensity to disregard that component. When it comes to the cost of something like XRP, another factor that cannot be overlooked is the efficiency with which operations are carried out. Take into consideration a scenario in which the XRP ledger is responsible for the execution of daily payments that each amount to $1 trillion. In a scenario where each XRP is worth $5, the arrangement in question would be an inefficient use of resources. In the event that the price of XRP reaches thousands of dollars, the transition will be an exceedingly smooth one. This particular form of evaluation is something that the fixed theory forecasts will occur. This is not a gamble that is without risk. Rather, it is being done for the purpose of improving the architecture of the global financial system. As a result of the adoption of this move, it will embrace a wider range of activities than only the act of banks transferring money across international borders. As a result of Ripple's integrations and collaborations, XRP is being prepared to serve as a fundamental asset for a wide range of applications such as lending, yield generation, collateralization, and other applications. In a future where XRP acts as a liquidity bridge and digital assets provide fast collateral for any form of loan, whether it be a mortgage, a car loan, or a business loan, imagine a scenario in which XRP is used to bridge the gap between the two. In the event that you were wondering whether or not a value growth of this magnitude is indeed achievable, the following is something that you should bear in mind. XRP is an example of a cryptocurrency in which collaborations have already been established. In its current state, it is efficient, speedy, and compatible with a wide range of other computer technologies. After a very long time, the last component is finally coming together, and that is regulations that are completely transparent. Furthermore, in the event that something occurs in the financial markets, the capital movement that follows is characterized by a rapid pace. It is not until a number of years have passed since the establishment of a framework that the central banks, the International Monetary Fund, and the Bank for International Settlements begin to participate in deliberation. They have no fear of engaging in combat. Furthermore, they are gigantic in terms of movement, which is another point of interest. Outside of that particular instant in time, nothing remains the same. When the functional price, which is also referred to as the new price, is finally implemented into the market, it is the very next day that it takes effect. As a consequence of this, the idea of selling XRP for a price that falls somewhere between $5 and $10 is incomprehensible to individuals who are aware of the significance of the cryptocurrency. Although this strategy may be successful for day buyers and sellers, those who have a longer time horizon will notice that the actual winners emerge once the speculators leave the market. This is the case even though this strategy may work for these individuals. Additionally, we are going to talk about this particular facet that is taken into consideration for the situation. We are not just referring to the fact that an increase in the number of purchasers will lead to a rise in the prices of the product or service. In this particular instance, the institution is positioning the commodity in issue as an absolute necessity, much like oil was during the early phases of the Industrial Revolution. This is a representation of the institution's position. It is not the question of whether or if XRP will reach that value that needs to be answered right now. Rather, the question that needs to be answered is about how high it will go once the banking system has established its position. Despite the fact that merchants are focusing their attention on market adjustments that are not as significant, the process of preparing the basis for this revolution is already under progress. For example, non-disclosure agreements, pilot programs, and system integrations are examples of unsung heroes whose work suddenly becomes widespread. These are the heroes who go unnoticed. On the other hand, it is possible that the reevaluation has already been completed by the time that it becomes glaringly clear. Instead of waiting for it to become blatantly obvious, it is vital to pay attention to placement right now. This is the reason why it is essential to pay attention to placement. It is important to take this into consideration. At this very moment, we are living in a time when the whole financial sector is on the verge of undergoing a digital revolution. The time has at long last arrived. For instance, there are tokenized assets, blockchain settlement, and high-speed international transfers, which are all instances. They are no longer notions that lack any basis in reality. It is accurate to say that they are still alive and doing well. Furthermore, XRP is in a position that makes it ideal for it to serve as the connecting link for all markets. This is a position that is helpful. As a result, the question of whether or not the value of XRP will increase is not the key concern at this time. One of the most crucial things to do is to determine whether or not you will still be holding it when it finally accomplishes the function for which it was built. To what end? Owing to the fact that after the patch is deployed, there will be no opportunity to intervene, regardless of whether the price per XRP is thousands, tens of thousands, or even more than that. The process of gaining access has proved successful in the past. Consequently, in order to make the most of the early detection of arrangements of this kind, I have developed my own way in order to accomplish this.